Hi Healthista readers, Dr. Michael Mosley here, and I want to talk about why it's so important to ditch the ill-informed fad diets which are so common at this time of year. January is the time when most of us start thinking about our health and perhaps turn to a bit of dieting. It is really important, if you do so, that you choose a diet which actually has some scientific basis behind it, because there are something like 50,000 diets out there. So whatever you do, look for the scientific credibility. One of the reasons that most people are so unsuccessful with short-term fad diets is because these diets are ill-conceived with very little backup and very little plan. It is hard to lose weight, it is even harder to keep it off. And that's why it is so important you go into it fully armed with knowledge, with facts, with understanding exactly why you are doing it and why this particular diet is likely to work, or indeed what the barriers to it working are. I do think it's also hugely important you get your family on board and that you get a support network to help you through the difficult times. The FAST 800 program comes in 3 different steps, and this is based on a lot of really good science and scientific studies. So the first thing, if it's suitable for you and you have to go and do an online questionnaire when you go and visit the site, is to do a rapid weight loss phase. This means 800 to 900 calories a day, every day for up to 12 weeks. Now that sounds like it's really tough, but it is based on really good studies, and one thing we know is that within a surprisingly short amount of time you stop feeling hungry and you feel energetic and you feel good to go. At some point in that 12 weeks, you may decide you want to move over to intermittent fasting, where you do follow the same sort of recipes and the same exercise regime, but you're only doing it for a few days a week. And then finally, once you've achieved your goals, you move to what I call the way of life, which embraces a Mediterranean style diet plus a exercise regime plus stress reduction, all of which comes as part of the program, because I do think the 3 components are incredibly important. Calorie restriction on a low carb but a super healthy diet, making sure your stress is being well managed, and also becoming active. Many people are a bit concerned about going on a low-calorie diet, something which is less than 1,000 calories a day, because they assume they'll just get ravenously hungry, but actually isn't what happens. That is not what people report. And there are several reasons for this. One important reason is that when you are on our special low-calorie, low-carb diet, you'll go into a state of what's called ketosis. Your body will start burning fat, and when it does, that suppresses a hunger hormone called ghrelin, so that cuts hunger. The other thing is that our recipes are full of protein and also fiber, and these 2 things are absolutely guaranteed to minimize hunger. The reason that many people start on the very fast 800, that is, 800 to 900 calories a day, every day for weeks on end, is because there have been a large number of clinical trials which have shown that this is the most effective way to lose weight and keep it off, both in the short, the medium, and the long term. I mean, these are big trials involving many hundreds of people. Now, this is a surprise because we've always been told that slow and steady is better, but actually it isn't. It really isn't. The reason that the rapid weight loss works is it's incredibly motivating, because you can see, the kilos dropping away, you can feel your trousers getting, looser, and your skirt getting looser. So people find it really psychologically attractive. Plus, when you're on a rapid weight loss diet, you do switch into ketosis, which switches off the hunger hormones, and that means you don't feel hungry, so you stop obsessing about food. Clearly, once you stop the program, it is important that you have a maintenance approach, and that's why we urge people to do a subscription program. Let's assume you decided to do the fast bit of the fast 800, where you're doing 800 to 900 calories a day. What is happening inside your body? Well, first thing you should know is that your body runs primarily on fat and sugar. It's a bit like a hybrid car. And when your body is full of sugar because you're eating lots of sugary snacks, there's no need to burn through the fat. And so instead your fat stores just sort of sit there And it's only when you start to deplete them that you switch to major fat burning. That happens within about 2 to 3 days of starting the program. You'll start to see the weight really drop off, and you'll also notice that you're feeling less hungry, because what's happening is your sugar stores, which are known as glycogen, they have depleted, and when that happens you go into major fat burning. And your body does this by converting fatty acids into things called ketone bodies. These suppress hunger, but they also kind of give you a buzz. So surprisingly, again, you actually start feeling quite high. If you've never done it, it's known as flipping the metabolic switch. Basically, when you go from burning sugar to fat, you'll feel a bit rough for the first couple of days. But it gets easier, it gets much better, and within a week or so, you start to feel really good about yourself. And the great thing about this approach is that the more often you do it, the easier it gets. The metabolic switch, if you like, becomes less rusty. Now, one of the things many of us struggle with is an addiction to sugar. We just love the stuff. I love chocolate, I love biscuits, and I find it very difficult to shake. One of the things I would say is that when you do the Fast 800, these cravings are some of the first things to go. Now, the reason for that is that you're obviously eating a kind of healthier diet, you're eating a lot more fiber and other things, but I think also when you are doing the weight loss program, you know you're not going to be able to, stuff your face full of sugary stuff. So in a way, you kind of put it all away, you make sure it's not in the cupboards, it's not around, and there's less temptation. And I would say this is a very important thing to do. Also, to make sure your family on board and not trying to offer you sugary treats all the time. I do think as well that when you are losing weight and you're in this state of what is known as ketosis, that you're burning fat, that also seems, for reasons I'm not entirely clear, but that does certainly reduce sugar cravings. So all of these contribute. Many people think that if you want to eat healthily, then that is expensive, but the reality is it isn't. And in many ways, it can be far cheaper than actually eating junk food. In fact, somebody I know is an accountant who lost 40 kilos on the Fast 800 program. He tracked all the food and drink he ate before and afterwards, and he found that he was actually saving a load of money. So I think that is an important message to get across, that if you want to eat healthily and lose weight, you can do it on a reasonable sized budget. If you embark on the Fast 800 program, within a matter of weeks, you're going to see some pretty dramatic changes, not only in your weight and waistline, but also in your health. We know that if you have raised blood sugars, they'll come down. High blood pressure, that comes down. High cholesterol, that comes down as well. And as long as you maintain a healthy weight and as long as you stick to the program, then all these sort of bad stuff, well, that will, diminish. So you will see huge health benefits very fast, along with the weight loss and obviously the magical shrinking waist, so that you'll look good, you'll feel good, and your insides will be good as well.